Now to a new reason to call grandma. A new study by researchers at Boston College found grandparents and adult grandchildren who are close are less likely to be depressed. Judith Sills is a clinical psychologist. Dr. Ish Major is a psychiatrist and a relationship therapist. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
This is a very interesting story, and it goes both ways, and it's not just about thinking of grandkids as children, but thinking about how they grew up. Talk a little bit, Judith, about the study itself and what it found.
So the study took grandparents and adult grandchildren and said, what do they have to do with each other? Let's look at two things. First, emotional support. They asked each person, how close are you? How would you rate this relationship? And they compared that to depression scores. And then more important, they said, how much instrumental support, meaning how much stuff do you do for each other? Household chores, financial support, advice, life decisions. And what they found was depression scores are lower when adult grandchildren, average age 31, and grandparents are closer. And depression scores are lower for the grandparents only when the grandparents also give back. So if you give to grandma and you take care of grandma, but she doesn't give back to you, she feels bad.
I think that is the headline of this study. Exactly. And it goes to the age-old wisdom, it's better to give than to receive. But a lot of us with our grandparents might think, well, I don't want, don't give me your money, or you don't need to do anything for me. But Ish, it sounds like it's helpful. It's good if they're able to feel like they're giving you something.
It is. And you normally think of kids as the only ones who have those developmental milestones, walking or talking on time or being able to grab a French fry, but it does have it too. And for the grandparents' age, their milestone is being able to have that sense of purpose and to feel like their life mattered.
To be useful.
To give back and be useful and guide that next generation. So it's a huge deal.
Not everybody's so lucky, though, to have living grandparents. I have my cousin, Deanne Harris, who lives here in New York, who's a great-grandmother, who has an incredible relationship with her grandkids. But, Judith, it goes to something you're talking about, which is she's the active participant. She's not just being cared for.
Right.
And there's got to be something unique as we get older. The relationship we have with our parents is one thing, but if we can have a relationship as an adult with a grandparent, you encourage us to ask them about life.
Well, ask them about life. You're 30 years old. Show grandpa your resume.
Yeah.
You've had a job.
Right. I'm actually 32.
Oh, well. if these are very simple, but they're real. If your grandmother has those dishes she wants to give you, and you really don't want them, take them.
Right.
Ask for the recipes.
But they've raised kids, they've raised families, they've seen so much, they've been through all kinds of ups and downs.
You know, we have research now on positive aging. Aging that's not just fight it, deny it, avoid it, but do it in a good way. And the number one thing we see is volunteerism.
Yeah.
People who give and are connected have less depression and they live longer. This is medicine for all of us.
I think it speaks to the point that all of us want to feel that we have a purpose or a function. And it struck me as I was reading the research on this, even if you don't have your grandparents around anymore, if you have older parents, I would think that this lesson extends to them as well.
Absolutely. And one of the big things about it is, we all learn, we all get through life by learning. We see it and then we do it. And so if you've got that link, we can see somebody who's been there, done that, and came out on the other side, right? It just goes to make sense that, we all feel better in knowing that we're going to be okay at the end of the day. It's a big reassurance. It's the biggest gift you can give.
So the short message is take the check. When they're offering you the check, take the check. It's good all around.
Right, because it's important for them to give as well.
Take the check, take the pillows, take the dishes, but mostly take the advice,
Take
right?
the advice.
Take the advice.
All right, Judith Sills, Dr. Ish Major, thank you both very much.
Great to